Hi, it's Tara Green, and I'm going to talk about a very powerful Sagittarius new moon total solar eclipse, the only one that we've had of 2020, so it's of great importance. Plus, it is ushering in this big gateway that we're already in from December the 12th. You know, it's 12/12. Traditionally, that's a gateway. Moving up to December 21st, which is the opposite, and the big Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. So here's this big, powerful total solar eclipse. Now you can see the sun and the moon are up there at 23 degrees of Sagittarius. And even though it's not marked here, the Galactic Center is very close by at 27 degrees Sagittarius. And the Galactic Center is the big black hole at the center of our galaxy. And I think you may have remembered that everybody kind of went nutty that we saw the first picture of a black hole. So this is the big maw, the great cosmic yoni that the Mayans believe that all souls entered, were birthed into, and leave the galaxy. Now, a lot of people are also saying that the Mayan calendar, which was supposed to end December 21st, 2012, is actually ending now, December 21st, 2020. Okay, they're interposing that 8-year cycle, and the number 8 is the symbol of infinity turned on its side. So tap again to the Galactic Center and its powerful galactic transmission. It emits incredible infrared rays of light, and I have my Mercury there, so it's always been a source to me of being able to tap into the highest cosmic wisdom. I would also use specific crystals here, especially dreamers crystals. This is my special Herkimer diamond. You know, when you do meditations, to tune into the Galactic Center, especially on the eclipse. Now, it's not good to initiate anything on an eclipse of any kind. Don't do any spells, don't do any magic. The Tibetan Buddhists believe that it's only reserved for prayers, because as the sun is diminished, and the sun symbolizes light and life in our galaxy, as that light is diminished, they believe that over time, the power of the light, the sun is itself being diminished, and so we need to take it upon ourselves to pray, to do mantras, to do good deeds, to think good deeds. It's a good time to purify, okay, during a powerful solar eclipse like this one, okay. Now, this eclipse is also connected to a fixed star called Rasalhaque, which is connected to the constellation of Ophiuchus, which is not the 13th constellation. There's never been 13 constellations, and there never can be. But this powerful fixed star constellation, Ophiuchus, is the serpent bearer. And the star, Rasalhaque, is the star in the head of the snake, and Ophiuchus is the snake charmer. And the symbol of the snake is a great symbol from ancient times of healing, and to this day the medical establishment has intertwined snakes on the caduceus, right? And Ophiuchus is connected to Asclepius, and the originator of ancient medicine in ancient Greece, and that's where that lineage of modern medicine using the snake as its symbol. So it's extremely ancient. Snakes were considered related to infinity, to women's menstrual blood, to healing, to transformation, to magic. So again, this eclipse is connected to two very powerful emanations there. You know, the head of the snake, it's like a blue, sapphire blue star. It kind of represents our third eyes, the psychic third eye. So you want to open up that violet flame, and purple is also the color related to Sagittarius, because its ruler Jupiter, his royal color is purple. Okay, now this eclipse is also being squared by Neptune in Pisces there. Neptune in Pisces at 18 degrees. Now Jupiter rules both Sagittarius and Pisces, so in that sense, you know, this is a kind of harmonious aspect, although it's challenging. Squares are always challenging. You can see the big square here. So Neptune diffuses and puts us under a veil of illusion and projections, and this is why we've been in this era of fake news and things getting more confused, but it's also very spiritual. So Neptune and Pisces is a very spiritual connection. Again, you want to use amethyst, purple amethyst, with your meditations. This is a perfect stone to use during this solar eclipse, okay? So Neptune, the god of the oceans, the god of the unconscious, the god of the soul in a way, the god of the source. So again, both of these symbols, Neptune and Pisces, and the Galactic Center, are calling us home to our galactic source. Okay, very powerful. Now, Mercury, the planet of communications in Sagittarius, is also conjunct the sun and the moon. And Mercury is the messenger, okay, the messenger of the gods. So we are being given a very positive, very uplifting. Sagittarius is a sign of good humor, of optimism, because this is the darkest time of the year in the northern hemisphere. We have to have that optimism before we get to the winter solstice, because people would feel like, is the sun coming back? Is life ever going to return? So we have to have that Sagittarius optimism, okay? So you want to go higher. The arrow that Sagittarius aims is on the angle of the galactic center, at the tilt of the axis of the Earth, 23 degrees. So it's always telling us to aim higher, to go bigger, okay? Now, the ruler of this eclipse, again, is Jupiter in Capricorn. You can see Jupiter right there, conjunct Saturn. Jupiter is actually at the 28th, which is really the 29th, almost at the 29th degree, and Saturn is at the 29th degree. This is like the last degrees of any sign when planets at their last final degrees. They're at their most powerful. So Jupiter and Saturn closing out all of the hard lessons that everyone had to go through in the world in 2020, triggered by Pluto and Saturn being together on January the 12th, okay? Now, so these are the final days of integrating all the karmic lessons that humanity needed to learn through to go to the next side, to graduate. And Sagittarius is a sign of higher education, so we are all going to graduate here, okay? So this eclipse coming just before everything's starting to change is really powerful. I would highly recommend that you spend the time during the eclipse meditating. There will be worldwide meditations, I believe, on this eclipse, as well as especially on December 21st. But you can see the exact time of the eclipse is actually 8:16 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11:16 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 4:16 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. The eclipse will not be visible in North America. It really is only in effect showing in South America. You can look that up on world maps. Now, other aspects here. Eris and Mars are both conjunct as well in fiery Aries, okay? And they are trining. There is actually a big grand fire trine going on here. They are trining the sun and the moon pretty much exactly, especially Eris. Now, she is the shit disturber goddess. She's kind of the FU goddess that says, you know what, you don't invite me to the party, you don't include me, forget it, I'm going to get you. And so, in a sense, this is like payback time, okay? And a new initiation, okay? But again, you don't want to put out any negative energy. You just want to boost your own energy, positive energy, getting ready for the new, okay? But this can be shown as well as anger, and revenge kind of energy in the world, okay? Now, Venus is also at the 28th degree, conjunct Juno, one of my favorite goddesses, by the way. So notice the planets at 28 degrees, Venus and Juno in an exact conjunction, Jupiter at 28, okay? And so they are supporting each other, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, in a sextile, a positive aspect with Juno, the feminine form of genius. Juno is Jupiter's wife. So Jupiter was the head god. He's like Zeus, Yahweh, Thor, and Juno, or Hera, in the Greek myths, was his wife. And so he was considered to be the genius, masculine, and she's the feminine form of genius. So again, women need to really dig deep emotionally into their memory banks, into their power, that women have this ability naturally to be multidimensional, to think multidimensionally, to access multidimensional realities, okay? So you really need to tap into that right now, very, very strongly, okay? Now, Venus and Juno are opposite Sedna. Now, this is a new planet that's not really considered very much. She is the Inuit goddess of the oceans. I mean, her myth is kind of very sad and quite tragic, but she became the goddess of all ocean life. And so for people that are concerned about the environment, I think it's very important to tune in to Sedna as the goddess of the unconscious, of the oceans, of all the animal life. Tune into the whales, who are the record keepers of the earth, and bring that genius up. That is one of the key signatures I see also that we need to pay attention here to the symbols of the eclipse. Now, there is another planet over here. Well, it's an asteroid, and it's really important because of what's been going on in the world in fire sign here. This is the symbol of Hygeia, the goddess Hygeia at 15 degrees of Leo, in this grand fire trine with Eris and Mars. So of course Hygeia, she is the root word of hygiene. And so there she is in Leo, she is retrograde. But it is about paying attention to what our heart health is all about. The Heart Math Institute, you should check it out if you don't know about it. They have done all this research about the heart having its own brain, and that actually, like the Tibetan Buddhists and most indigenous people, the mind, our heads, which most North Americans, Northerners, think is the operating system, or where our consciousness is. Our consciousness appears to come from our head because that is like the operating system, but our consciousness really emanates from the heart. So staying in our hearts is how we stay healthy, okay, how we stay strong. So we need to keep our hearts open, okay, at all times, even though we're in this forced shutdown, okay. Now, Pluto is also at 23 degrees as the sun and the moon are in what's called a semi-sextile in Capricorn, okay? Now, as Jupiter and Saturn are going to move ahead into Aquarius, we're still going to have to deal with Pluto being in Capricorn until 2024, okay? So there's still deep transformation. Getting deeper is like a PhD, piling higher, deeper there for the next while, and especially as the U.S. approaches its first Pluto return, the first exact hit when it's at 27 degrees is in February 2022. So Sagittarius rules politics, it rules justice, it rules the military. So my call is that there is going to be some crazy energy coming on, because this is also the day of the Electoral College meeting on December 14th. And the eclipse is also very important to Donald Trump because he was born on a lunar eclipse, and this eclipse is actually directly on his moon. His sun is directly opposite in Gemini. So to have a solar eclipse on an already eclipsed lunar moon is a very interesting thing. Now, solar eclipses are traditionally the death of kings and leaders, okay? So this can, in some ways, indicate his death, and yet I feel like he's going to call out the military, okay? So I'm going out on a limb here. I'm willing to be wrong. It's what I've been intuiting. I know it sounds crazy. They're already stirring up a lot of fighting in the States, and I believe that his followers who do believe that the election is a fraud are fighting for what they believe is justice. So this is the beginning of what I've predicted, a civil war in the U.S. Coming for many years. Okay, so it's going to be a bit wacky in the States. And, Venus and Scorpio, that's the opposite of the bull market. Even though the market seems artificially inflated, which it is, there's some deep, dark, secret maneuvering going on there. That's Venus rules the money markets as well. Now, Chiron, the wounded healer, 4 degrees of Aries, Ceres, 7 degrees of Pisces, Athena, 2 degrees of Aquarius. So a lot of these asteroids, Lilith is at 6 degrees of Taurus, almost conjuncting Uranus. They're only 1 degree apart. So all of these other, we could call them minor planets, just to make things simple, at early degrees. I would really pay attention also to Lilith conjunct Uranus, because that is a big wild card. Lilith, again, the dark goddess, the first woman, the power of whatever has been rejected, the feminine that's been rejected, our connection to the earth, to have equal relationships, to have mutual respect. All of these are very big items right now. Conjunct Uranus and Taurus, again, Taurus ruling the bull market, Uranus, the big wild card, the agent of chaos. I know it sounds like an old Mike Myers movie there. Agent of Chaos is kind of like the Man from U.N.C.L.E. or a James Bond movie from way back when. Uranus, the planet of chaos, of revolution, of freedom, and Lilith really kicking it off. So I think, again, it's about women standing up and, really claiming how abused we've been since the patriarchy started over 7,000 years ago, and not taking any crap anymore. So that's something else. So everything that's been denied is chaotically and crazily coming up to the surface. Okay, what else do we need to talk about here? This is a south nodal eclipse. So a south node means we are releasing from the past, old philosophies, old belief systems, maybe old educational paths, traveling, because nobody's getting to travel right now, outworn paradigms in the justice system. So what was law before and stood will not stand anymore. And I think that's also where Uranus is somehow kicking in here and influencing this as overturning the old order. Totally. That's Aquarius. We are moving into the age of the Aquarius. This is like the little appetizer here before we get to Aquarius. It is going to be a complete revolution in consciousness, in every element. We're moving into the 200-year age of air signs. Elements between Jupiter and Saturn meeting, and a 20-year new beginning as Jupiter and Saturn meet at 0 degrees of Aquarius. So initiation in the new. Well, you have to get rid of the old before you can bring in anything new. So this is a very powerful eclipse to release, especially while the eclipse goes on. The totality here is what this time is for. So I would research on the net. There's a thing called time and date. You can go to NASA. You can look up which cycle this is. Eclipses repeat every 18, 19 years. So you want to look back at where you were in that time period. So for people who have planets at around, for eclipses, you have to use very tight orbs. If you have any planets at 21 to 25 degrees Sagittarius, you are being directly hit with this eclipse. So conjunctions are the most powerful. And then anybody with planets at, again, 21 to 25 degrees of Pisces and Virgo, and then Gemini. The North Node is in Gemini. Again, 23 degrees. Getting very close to what's called the North Star, the pole star. So, again, this is a releasing, this is a letting go of what we thought was truth, what our notions of justice is. The U.S. has its ascendant at 12 degrees of Sagittarius in that Sibley chart. So the U.S. is a kind of Sagittarius-ruled country, ruled by Jupiter. So again, very powerful times we're heading into. I would honor Neptune as well, asking for clarity, asking for your own higher guides, your spiritual guides to come in here. Something else that's coming to me here that I'm channeling right now. Really pay attention to your dreams over this next while. The eclipse is again on Monday. In this time zone, and also to honor Saturn at the last degree of Capricorn, taking stock of all the hard lessons that you've learned since Saturn entered Capricorn 2.5 years ago. So if you want to get in touch with me, I'm at tarot.com. Please subscribe to me here on YouTube. I really do need to get to 1,000 followers ASAP. Follow me on my blog at infinitynow.wordpress.com. If you want to buy a gift certificate, those are available. You can get them on my website just under private readings, and you can order those. Great gift that keeps on giving, never gets old. I'm on Instagram and Twitter as well, so wishing you many blessings. I will be meditating, doing mantras all day on the solar eclipse. Okay, blessings to you.